Let's grow together.
In 1,000 feet, use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Hey friends, it's Thursday, August 5, 2021, and it's time to prepare to go there. Welcome back to the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation on the internet. And that's my opinion, but it's because I'm convinced that our future deserves our focus today. And the future frontier will not pioneer itself. So let's get after it. My name is Peter, and it has been so much fun to go on this long forum coaching journey with you. This is episode 34, I think, which is amazing. And the intention behind all of this is to invite friends and leaders alike into a journey, to go into the future frontier where we are meant to go, and to help each other do the practical work that is necessary in order to show up ready. I don't want to just rise to the occasion. I can't prove that I will rise to the occasion, but what I can do is put in the work today and lead myself well when I'm not in the spotlight. And then hopefully I'm going to fall back on my preparation. I'm going to fall back on all of that work and worth that was being cultivated through those, quote, hidden years. And so I'm all about encouraging emerging leaders to do the necessary yet unnoticed preparation. And I get it. This is not fun. This is not cool. This is not going to help you, grow your influence, but it will help you lead yourself with intentionality and integrity, so that way you can actually play the long game and win big. And so the future frontier is our topic. And, everybody wants to make a difference, go the distance, but what does that really require? And that's really what motivated this conversation. I found that most people don't know how to lead others into a better future simply because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. It was pretty cool. One of my mentors, media mentors, so to speak, Craig Rochelle, who is a legendary leader and a pastor, he comes out with these leadership videos, and he sparks these big conversations in 20 minutes or less. And this round, his conversation was all about self-leadership. I kind of felt like he was calling us out, that he was speaking directly to this community, and he was kind of, speaking our language. And I take it as a compliment, because I think a lot of leaders need to be having this conversation. And while this is no dig or jab at all to Craig Rochelle, I don't think we're talking enough about self-leadership. It's cool to have it as a one-time topic, and that's not the entire scope of what he focuses on. But man, what an opportunity for us who are on that leadership journey, learning how to lead ourselves, lead others, and lead through others, so that way we can have impact, we can grow influence, we can live on mission. And so I think to be on the mountaintop and to actually see what's possible is amazing. And to even have those, face-to-face, get real kind of moments, those are good and needed, but you still have to go on the journey. And so that's why I've chosen the format I have. That's why we're kind of running with this the way we do, because we know it's a journey and it's going to take time to figure it out, but also keep it up long enough to see the results that we're going for. So how do you lead yourself? That's what this conversation is all about. It's a call to action to friends and leaders alike who want to focus practically on the future, not just escape, not just daydream, not just fantasize about what's wrong here, what is perfect out there, but really focus practically on what's possible and make it personal. And that's why I'm challenging you all the time. Let's get that big future that you've talked about, dreamed about, prayed about, waited for, and let's get it off the back burner. Let's keep it on the front burner where it belongs, because whatever we focus on, that's the direction we are going. And so we want to focus practically on the future, and that's where we're getting clarity. That's where we're getting strategy. That's where we're building our motivation. We're working on our why. We're working through the weight. But then you actually have to do the work, right? You have to lead yourself there into that future you're so clear about now. Even if there's a lot of uncontrollables going on around us, we don't have to be controlled by the uncontrollables. We can figure out a way to move forward confidently and competently if we'll just work on the tactics to lead ourselves day by day by day. And I think that's where the emerging leaders are living right now. You've got all this, big talk and big dreams, but you're saying, how do I work through stress? How do I work through relational dynamics? How do I just do the life stuff, do the adulting stuff, which actually keeps you in the game and qualifies you to go to new levels? And so that's what I want to invite you into right now. If what I'm sharing thus far resonates with you, I want you to go on this coaching journey with us. I want you to be a part of our email community. It's called the Future Friends. It's all about people that want to stay future focused, and they're going to work together so that way we can all get better, because the world really does need leaders that are going to find a new and better way forward, that are going to live with intentionality and integrity, that are going to be giving and not just taking. And that may sound too good to be true, but the truth is that I already know quite a few of those kind of legendary leaders, and they are real, and they're not just myths. They do exist. You may not see them all the time because they don't live for the limelight, but they are making a difference on the front lines. And so we want to be in those ranks. We want to be among the ranks of the respectable, the honorable, and those that are making a real difference in our world, that are going the distance in relationships. And so Future Friends get a lot of this rhetoric and a lot of this resourcing all the time. Future Friends are going to get plugged into this daily coaching journey, which is all about keeping company with you while you are working on yourself and while you are figuring out that big future you're pioneering. Future Friends are going to get an email every week that bundles up all the coaching content. So even if you can't be here live, you still have a really easy access kind of reference or bookmark just with all the content for that week waiting on you. And then the Future Friends are going to get the info and incentives to the coaching course that is coming soon, and other opportunities or projects that are going to be made available. I'm really looking forward to this fall semester. I feel like the summertime has been building up with this conversation, and now there's quite a community, quite a group of you that are leaning into this. And so now we can start working together in some pretty cool and exciting ways. So I'll be sharing more about that later. But for now, I want to give you a gift. It is a free fail-proof planning guide. It's a PDF that's really going to help you think agile, not fragile. When you look out into this very unpredictable future, you can still make it unforgettable. You can still make a dent and see a big difference come out of it. I believe your life can ripple out far and wide, not because of how awesome you and I are, or even how awful we feel at times, but because of the great grace of God that's working in us, so that way it can partner with what he wants to do around the world. I know that sounds a little preachy, but I really just want you to feel the confidence that you can really commit to having a great year, and you can figure out, how do I stay agile, not fragile? What are the mindsets and the skill sets that will help me navigate this new and needed way forward? And so fail proof means you're going to future proof your planning process. It's not one plan that makes you unbeatable, but it's rather a step-by-step proven process that you can come back to every single week in a weekly planning session with a guided, step-by-step approach that's going to help you work through your goal setting, help you work through the rhythms and the decisions that you're going to have to work on and make in order to stay on track. It's been a big help for me. It's really become more habitual, so I don't have to look at the PDF all the time now, but it's a great starter. And so if you're trying to just figure out, if this would be valuable to you before you go on this, extended coaching journey, start here and join us whenever you can. Let's dive into the conversation today. We're really kind of in a series of conversations about tactics to lead yourself at home. And the question is, if you really do want to, prepare to go there, you really do want to go places in the future, you really do want to pioneer new and needed ways forward, where do you actually take the fight? Like, where do you take the fight if you want to have a great future and lead others into a better future too? And I believe you need a home field advantage. You have to have a home field advantage. And so I think the best chance we have at getting a good foundation and then leveling up consistently and exponentially would be at home. Getting the tactics, getting the mindsets, the skill sets that help us excel at home. And that's leading yourself. That's being a private before a general. And that's being able to confidently prove the lifestyle that you are going to leverage to go make a difference. And so we've gone through all these different angles and sides of it. If you were, in the one about not just leading yourself, but feeding yourself, that was really fun. I had my first guest on this coaching journey. My wife, Sarah Joy, did amazing. She knocked it out of the park, and just really taught us and kind of blew our minds about things we can do to eat and cook more at home, and to do so more often, do it more confidently, more efficiently. So that was one iteration, but here we go with another installment. I want you to really focus on working out. Now, a disclaimer, I'm not an expert, but I do have to motivate myself every day like you do. And so even though I'm not an expert, I'm going to share what is working for me right now, and hopefully just put, gasoline on the fire. I talk a lot about how we just need the fuel for our focus. And sometimes having that conversation is enough just to keep us going in the same direction. And so I hope I either inspire you or annoy you enough to actually get in the game and to keep working out. And again, we need a home field advantage. So instead of making excuses about it's too far, it's too busy, or it costs too much, or I don't know where to go or how to start, and then there's so many barriers to entry. But guess what? You're living somewhere right now. You're eating there. You're sleeping there. You might be doing work there. You're hanging out with family or friends there. It's already an optimal environment for you because you're doing so many other parts there. So we need to build in time and space for you to have effective workouts on a consistent basis. And so I'd love to kind of start this conversation with you. If you're in the chat, please say hi. If you're in the chat or you're watching live, go ahead and share where you are watching from. And I want to ask you a question right after this quote. In fact, let me ask the question first, and then we'll get to the quote. But how do you feel about working out right now? I mean, I know I'm talking to all different stages of this conversation. Many of you are way ahead of us. You've got this figured out. I got a friend, Xavier, and he like not only is really good at this, but he's like made a thing about it. He's got something, on his Instagram. My wife is watching on the go. She's feeling a little bit convicted right now. I'm in the same boat, babe. I love you. We got this. We're going to fire ourselves up today. I got another friend, Tim. He's amazing. I mean, he just exudes strength. I think when he's in his resting position, he's strong, and this could apply to so many different friends and family members that we know. But for real, you have to be open, be direct. How do you feel about working out? Here's the quote that I want to just get us going with. And it's a quote from Socrates. So, it's going to be smart sounding, but I think it will help us kind of start edging into this. He said, "It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness." Man, that is good in and of itself, but let's keep going. It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness before seeing what manner of man or woman you may become by developing your bodily strength and beauty to their highest limit. And man, that first part is just so strong. It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness. See, we don't want apathy to turn into atrophy. You don't want atrophy to come out of a lifestyle of apathy. So we've got to care. We've got to get engaged. It's not us being an expert at fitness. It's us being an expert at us. It's us being a professional at us, caring about our health, caring about our goals, caring for our future, caring for our influence. Guys, I want you to realize that when we have this conversation, you might already have some triggers and some some turnoffs, but I want to just frame this up in a personal way so that way you can take ownership over this process. See, when I talk about working out, you might think of the things that I thought of. You might think, well, I'm not really like a muscular person or a really athletic person or a super talented person or a super coordinated person. So I'm already out of the game. And you think if I don't beat other people, then I shouldn't play this game at all. But you're not competing against other people. You're competing against yourself. You're competing against where you could go in the path of self-destruction or where you could go in the path of serving others. And so don't think, well, it's a lost cause, so I'm not going to try at all. Wrong. It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness. And I know people, and they are very old, but they don't have like a lot of age or years to go with it. And I know people that they have lived a very full, long life, but they still think young, they act young, they have strength, they're sharp. I mean, they're an inspiration because they realize they've put in the work to go the distance to make a difference. And so don't settle and just kind of opt out or disqualify yourself. And that'll be something else I share. But the worst thing you and I can do is nothing. It would be so much better to do what you can and to go for incremental, consistent improvement than to say, well, it's just too busy and it's not that season. And I mean, what are you talking about? It's not the season to like grow. It's not the season to change. It's not the season to try. It's not the season to get better. Like, I'm not trying to push back on you. I just want to motivate you and tell you that If not now, then when? This is either leading you into strength or this is leading you into atrophy. So don't do it. Get engaged. And I'm all for, going to gyms. I'm all for coaching. I'm all for memberships. I'm all for training with friends and people and those that are ahead of you. Absolutely. But you're going to have to figure out how to lead yourself. And if you're just being led around, depending on other people, then what's going to happen is you won't move unless you're moved upon. And you've got to get moving. You've got to do something lest you do nothing. Literally, every day counts. Every day matters. This isn't about your image. This is about your impact. This isn't about, trying to impress people. This is about being there at the finish line where you're expected. This is about being a strength and not a burden. And I think this is about stepping up rather than stepping back, because we're going to have moments where we got to step up. And when we show up, are we going to show up ready, or are we going to have regrets, and are we going to step back? So I don't want to do that. This conversation is about personal mastery, but it's really about being mastered by the right values, being mastered by the right motives. And so I want to just kind of speak to this from a different perspective. I want to share a little bit from my own worldview as a Christian, as a Jesus follower. We have really deep motives, really deep passions, and I want to just speak to that, because sometimes in that space and in my context, people could say, "Oh, well, that's just not spiritual enough. We need to be more spiritual. We just need to focus on the spiritual." And I want to give you a scripture that really helped me personally. And you got to find your own why. But this was definitely a big why for me. Why would I want to train physically? Why would I want to work out continually? And even kind of zoom out and a little bit broader, why would I want to lead myself? Why would I want to prepare to go there? And so the writer says, what you've heard me teach publicly, you should teach others. Share these teachings with people you can trust. Then you'll be able to teach others these same things. So if I'm not willing to go there, then how can I lead other people there? And then he says, as a good soldier of Christ Jesus, accept your share of the troubles we have. A soldier wants to please his commanding officer, so he does not spend any time on activities that are not part of his duty. Athletes in a race must obey all the rules to win. The farmer who works hard deserves the first part of the harvest. Think about what I'm saying. The Lord will help you understand it all. And as I was just kind of thinking through this, there are three categories, three types of people that are mentioned: the soldier, the athlete, and the farmer. And I heard someone else talk about this, a leader that I really respect. And he said, these are the three pressures that can come on us in our lifetime, in our life's journey. The first one was the soldier, and the instruction was, don't get distracted on civilian life. Don't get distracted by what everybody else is doing. You've got to stay focused. Don't get distracted. And if I'm honest, I'll get distracted and I won't put in the work that I need to, but I have to remind myself, don't get distracted. And that's why I've got to show up every single day, and I have to have an intentional choice that I'm going to work out, that I'm going to train myself. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to lead myself in this way and in a variety of other ways as well. The other type of person was the athlete, and the athlete has to play by the rules. And if they're not willing to play by the rules, they get disqualified. And what I really get burdened about, gripped about, saddened about is how many people start strong, but then they burn out, they crash, they have some sort of moral failure, they have some sort of, even if they look successful, if they lose, their integrity, they lose their moral compass, so to speak, or they lose the value of the relationships that they had along the way, then are they really a winner? And it is possible to start strong and end up disqualified. Man, if you're hearing that you're always good and it's always okay and anything's fine, like, that should concern you. I really want to challenge you to be like that athlete. Don't get disqualified. And so this is one of the ways where I say, you know what? There's sometimes I don't get what I want. There's sometimes I don't, just do whatever feels good. I have to push myself. I have to lead myself. I have to discipline myself. I don't just go by how I feel all the time. I go by the values and the truth that I've submitted to, that I want to live by. And I know that is going to, when I embrace something honorable, then I become an honorable person. When I embrace truth, then I become a truthful person. When I embrace something beautiful, then I become a beautiful person, right? And I just think that you've got to be willing to discipline yourself, and you shouldn't always choose easy street. You should be willing to do hard things because they're right. Even, do the right thing and do the right things by other people, and that'll take you a long way. And then finally was the farmer, which the encouragement or the pressure that they would feel is discouragement. That they get discouraged because it's not immediate, that the results are not immediate. And you have to give something that is valuable to you, and it feels like you're losing it. You feel like, you kind of lost in the short run. But if you stick with it and you're not discouraged, then you will not, you'll feel better about it, and you'll see the fruit of it all. You'll see what it yielded. And so that can apply to so many areas of life. But just from my context, my worldview, that really helped shape my why around physical training, around working out. And then we'll talk tactics about working out at home. But, I don't want to be distracted when I need to stay focused. I don't want to get disqualified in my own lifestyle if and when I'm trusted to have leadership. And I definitely don't want to be discouraged. I want to keep doing the work day in and day out, and just trust the results are going to be there when they need to be there. So I hope that helps. And I know it was a little bit off the beaten path, but you got to get a why that will help you get going. And so here are 3 commitments that I want you to make. The first one is, I want you to commit to intentionally figure this out. For real. You have the goods. You are sharp. You can do this. Do not use and reuse the same excuses. Man, if you recycle the same excuses one more week, I'm going to reach through this camera and I'm going to try to punch you. Like, for real, it's not cool. It's not okay. You've got to intentionally figure this out. And I've said this before on this coaching journey because it applies in so many different areas of our life. But wherever you feel stressed right now, wherever you are in a struggle right now, there is a strategy waiting for you. Yes, you have a unique situation, but there's also a unique strategy. And so you've got to kind of shift your perspective. You got to get in a different mode of thinking, and you got to get out of that kind of helplessness and that emotional craziness. And you got to start thinking a little bit more logically, a little bit more strategically. You got to be a little more grounded, and you got to say, okay, I'm being honest. This is not cool. This doesn't feel good. I don't like where I'm at. And you got to figure out, how do I contain and process and work through all of these emotions while I am also trying to scan and detect the strategy that's going to help me work through this stress or this struggle. And once you can figure out the right strategy for the appropriate situation you're in, the right strategy for the specific struggle you're working through, your mindset changes. You see not just light at the end of the tunnel, you see light in the tunnel. You now have some steps you can take, and that's what you can start working on. So commit to intentionally figure this out. The next commitment is commit to do something intentional every day. Commit to do something intentional every day. So many times we romanticize nothing. We ask ourselves, man, did I work out today or not? And we look back and we're like, well, I walked. No, you didn't. You commuted from your bedroom to your kitchen and back, or no, you went around Kroger, for crying out loud. Like, that was not working out. That doesn't count. Like, everyday life is not the same as intentional training or some sort of exercise, some sort where you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. Like, all of that was stuff you do in your comfort zone. But when and where do you, man, I'm preaching to myself. This is so good, guys. This is why we've got to be on the coaching journey, because just talking about it gets us thinking about it, and thinking about it gets us caring about it, and caring about it helps us to start taking action. And so commit to intentionally figure this out, meaning you're going to do whatever it takes. You're going to find the videos online. You're going to find the resources. You're going to find the relationships. You're going to find the strategies. You're going to find the tools. You're going to find the gear. You're going to find the supplements. You're going to find the cool shoes. I don't know. Just, you're going to figure this out for you. What is that code? You're going to break that code. You're going to solve this riddle once and for all, and you're going to look back and you're going to have something worth sharing with other people. And then you're going to commit to do something intentional every day. Now, everybody's got different goals. Everyone has different, habits and different ways of approaching things. And so one size will not fit all, but do you know what your goals are? And do you have a plan to do something intentional every day? And then the third and last commitment for now is commit to involve other people. Commit to involve other people in this process. Now, this could apply like the Future Friends, where we're all invested in preparing to go there. And so that's why we're talking about this. We're working on this. I mean, we're adding fuel to our focus every day. But I mean, specifically, do you have someone that can actually show up at the same place at the same time to do this physical training with you, to do these workouts with you? For me, it's been my best friend, my wife. I mean, she's amazing. She motivates me. She has the mindset to dominate, and it's kind of scary, but it's also really attractive. And so I keep showing up, and I want to work out with her, and I'm thankful for it, because honestly, I didn't have that before. Maybe working out with all the rough and tough guys intimidated me too much, and I got behind. And thankfully, I was developing in other areas, which was a blessing. But this is not something that you can neglect. This is not something you can sub out. It's not like you can say, well, I put more time into my finances, so I don't need my fitness. No, if you don't have your fitness, you don't have your health. You don't have your mobility. You don't have flexibility. You don't have strength, endurance, stamina. So you can't sub out one of your strengths for this. You have to be working on this too. The next thing is, this is where you could go to a gym. You could work out with friends. You could find a coach. You could find, people that are going to spar you on. But for the sake of this conversation, don't depend on all of these externals. Start where you are. And you know what? We all start the day at home. And so let's start there. Let's get a plan that works there. So where do we begin? Tell me if you are having fun in the chat right now. Let me know if this is fire. Let me know what commitment you're going to be making. Amazing. Okay. So where to begin? Now, here's my running philosophy. It's enough to get going. So don't judge me. But this is literally what I would tell myself to get going. I would say, set the bar so low you can't say no. Just set the bar so low you can't say no. So literally, you just have to show up. Man, that's the first step. Great job. What's the next step? And you just take this thing one step at a time. And I don't know why this has to be so dreadful that it feels like you're dreading this so much so often. What's the deal? And I think if you just get some momentum and if you start taking ownership, you'll get the mindset and the skill sets that help you really power through. So these are some basic stuff. I mean, this would be the beginner's guide for the beginners and before beginners, but it's what has helped me get going and keep growing. So the first one is work out your warm-ups. Use the warm-up itself, like what everybody else is doing as a warm-up. Be faithfully committed to do those warm-ups full out like it is your workout. You may have to start there. Like you may just have to build a foundation and just work on flexibility and do some of the body movements that can help you do the workouts themselves. And there's no shame in that. Like for real, there's no embarrassment. What you should be embarrassed about is if you say, I did nothing. Going back to Socrates, coming through the screen, coming at you. It is a disgrace to grow old out of carelessness, to think old, act old, be older than you have to be. I think age is, beautiful. That's great. But I'm talking about apathy that leads to atrophy. So many times we're like, oh, the barrier to entry is too high. I can't do it. I don't have time. I don't feel it. I don't understand it. I don't know the right form. I'm kind of concerned I'm going to hurt myself. I already did hurt myself, so I need to recover from that. True story. And then you're done. You literally spent all that time talking yourself out of it when you could have just done it and then felt good about it. So get the warm up. Figure out what that warm-up's going to look like and just start doing that. Do it one day, do it 1 week, do it 1 month if you have to, but keep showing up and get the consistency down. Now, don't just warm up 5 minutes and call it good. That might be like your first day. I mean, you can do that immediately, but do the full workout with that foundational stuff in mind. Start with a YouTube video. Find someone who can walk you through some of the warm-ups. It was funny. This is a true story. I got into CrossFit for a little bit. It's not that I'm anti. I just kind of fell out of it. And I went there and I had a great I had 2 CrossFit experiences, and I'm not talking about 2 different workouts. I mean like seasons where I was kind of hanging out with CrossFitters. And the first time was exhilarating, amazing, empowering. I think that specific coach and trainer, he owned that gym. He was amazing. And then the second time, it was just a little bit bigger, a little crazier. I think like some of the people, they were doing pull-ups that it really, I'm being honest, I don't know if this is a thing or not. They looked like they were dolphins. They literally looked like they were like doing the like on pull-ups, and I was just, this is ridiculous, guys. I wanted to throw up with the warm-up. Like the warm-up was making me throw up. I couldn't keep up. And so there's no shame in that. Just keep going, keep showing up, do it again. And so that was a big side trail, I'm sorry, but do the warm-up. You can get stretch bands, anything that's just like, you don't need all the equipment. You can do a really good warm-up / workout if you just have a handful of exercises that you're going to do, push-ups and sit-ups and crunches. And I mean, there's so many different cool things you can do. that would help you get started. Now, you can't stay there. We all know that, but why not? Why not start there? Why not get good at that? Why not feel good about doing that and build up some of those core competencies that you need? And we'll get into some of those things in a second. The other thing, I know this sounds super simple, but Sarah Joy came home with these workout mats. They're just like durable or roll up kind of things. You may you'll see people that have the yoga mats. It's similar to that, but you just roll it out. And man, just having that was kind of cool. I don't know what it did. I don't know if it was like a prop. I don't know if it was like a trigger. I don't know if it was part of a routine now, but it kind of created like a space. You know what I mean? At home, you need a space where you can go work out at home. You need a space and a time, and now you're cruising. And when you are intentional, you decide, you carve out that time and that space, and you keep showing up again and again. And what you're doing is you're building it out. You're developing, you're letting that value show up in real time. And it's transforming the way you think and live and lead. So do something like that. Another thing is fuel your focus. Man, you really do have to find people that inspire you, that motivate you, that educate you, that empower you. You're not going to get that from me yet, but I really hope and commit to keep learning and to lead myself, and then to share those wins with the rest of you. So I'm talking about podcasts. I'm talking about people on social media. I'm talking about your friends, your coaches. I'm talking about, I just get really fired up when I personally, I don't know how you'll take this, but I get really motivated by people who have been in the military. They're former military, and they have a different mindset, man. Pro athletes, military, that is inspirational stuff. Pretty scary, but I want to be kind of moving in a direction where I'm developing, I'm growing, I'm being a strength, I'm serving others. I mean, there's a lot to learn. So why did I bring that up? And not to make that the point, but to say, find what fuels your focus. Okay. Then take steps before you strategize. Whoa, this is important for all of us who like to research. We're doing reconnaissance. We're getting references, all that stuff. Basically, we're binging YouTube, or we're going through, volumes of blogs on Google. And what we're basically doing is we're stalling. We're procrastinating. We're hesitating. We're trying to get the perfect workout. We're trying to get the perfect gear. We're trying to get the perfect whatever. And we're not taking action. So you got to take steps before you strategize. You won't know what works. You won't know how you feel or what to do next until you get going. So I would literally put the flag way out in the future and say, I'm not even going to think about my strategy until I show up at day 20 or I show up at day 30. Like, I'm just going to throw myself into this and get some initial inherent momentum. And then I'll figure out how to steer myself. But right now, I just got to get over the lethargy, which goes to the next thing is energy. This is kind of a catch-22 because in some senses, you need energy to go do the workout at home, and maybe you want to work out in the morning. Maybe you want to work out in the afternoon, you want to work out in the evening. You kind of find that sweet spot. That'll be a fun little rabbit hole or a rabbit trail you run down. But that's a debate, when's the best time? And well, if you're doing cardio, if you're doing lifting, if you're doing this, don't get in it. Just get going. And then you can steer and strategize from there. But energy is going to be a big thing. So if you just saying, if you lean a little more cerebral and, you're not, you love taking on, deeper issues, but you kind of overlook the obvious, like you really need help in the practical department. You know, like you may wonder, oh, I don't know why I'm in so much pain. Because you didn't eat and you didn't stretch and you didn't like do normal necessary things to be successful. It's like it's not that you try to hurt yourself more. It's just you didn't really think about it before. So focus on some of these basic things, get some good fuel in you before you work out, after you work out. That's part of the game. That's part of the fun, is learning how to level up as you go. All right, think about your workout as you're building it. Once you are ready to strategize, there are basically a few main categories that you can be working through. And I'm not just talking about leg day and back day and arm day, although that's good and that's something we can talk about too. But really, you got to be thinking about strength, agility, speed, flexibility, endurance. This is just a handful of examples. I'm not saying this is the have-to thing, but kind of like think through it. Focus practically on where you want to grow, what results you want to see. Do you want to get stronger? Do you want to be more agile? Do you want to get faster? Do you want to have more flexibility, more endurance? Obviously, you're gonna have a preference, or you may even default to a few over the other. But don't just like be the super fast person and then not care about your flexibility. There should be an element of becoming well-rounded. Maybe you've heard the joke. It's like, I'm in shape already. Round is a shape. That's not what I'm talking about. So just think about being well-rounded and just kind of filter that through, because what can happen is if your goal is to get going, you're going to set the bar so low you can't say no. And that's going to work and it's going to be good. But then you might get in a plateau, in a rut, and you're just doing the same thing every day. It's kind of like eating, feeding yourself at home. Pop-Tarts are, that's your go-to every single time. Oatmeal, that's your go-to every single time. And you're not really expanding. Now, it's really good to get that momentum, get going for a few days, few weeks, few months. But then you've got to be able to mix it up. You have to assess. You have to improve. Just grow. Just learn. Change. And that's what I'm saying here. Be mindful. How am I doing in some of these departments? Let me get a well-rounded training program in. Now, as far as scheduling is the make or break issue. Okay? If you say you value this, it's going to show up in your schedule. And what happens is we procrastinate and we forfeit these values on a day-by-day basis. It's sneaky, it's subtle, it happens to all of us. We look up and we say, wow, I didn't do the most important project I needed to. Or wow, I really didn't work out like I know I could. Why not? And, we can get into the psychology and the mindset and all that stuff, all the reasons for procrastination. But you can literally procrastinate just getting educated on procrastination. Just get it on a schedule. Just get a schedule. And, I'm not saying that you have to make like a doctor's appointment with yourself and say, okay, Tuesday at 2, I'll see you there. I'll be in the garage. We'll go do this workout. I'm saying build in a schedule, a rhythm in the day, in the week. And you have to start with the daily, because that's where you are every day. And you got to pick, okay, just give me a general sense. Are we doing the morning? We doing the evening? Something in between? Like, start there. Then you kind of have a target and you're aiming, you're shooting, you're kind of hitting the target. Then you start seeing, hey, I think I'm hitting the target earlier. Man, I like working out earlier more than I like working out later. I feel like I get the energy after I do the workout. I feel like I knock something out in the day. I'm gonna, now I can go crush it. Or maybe you're saying, hey, it's not really enjoyable, so I like getting it out of the way so I can enjoy the rest of my day and I'm not dreading this thing the whole time. I mean, whatever your angle is, you've got to get the right scope on your schedule. And then once you say, I've really got myself anchored in a good time of day, and I fine-tuned it to a time block, now I've got a bit of a routine around this to kind of wrangle this in. And I've been building my foundation. I have a time, I have a space, I got my cool little mat, or I got my stretch bands, my weights, I got my gear, my fuel, whatever you want to do it. I got my cool music. I got all the, you're building it out as you go. It's fun. You're showing up, you're cultivating this value one day at a time, 1 week at a time. And so you're doing the daily thing with the warm-ups. Now you're strategizing a little bit with theme days, and you're able to kind of push yourself and experiment with some of these different workouts. Then you can mix and match and enjoy and kind of customize it as you go. But my encouragement to you is, like, don't try to customize everything up front. You've got to build consistency first. Consistency has to come first, and then you can customize what you have proven. Kind of like with this coaching journey. I mean, I want to do a lot more, but this is round 34. I mean, we're on month 2 or 3. I'm just getting started. You're just getting started. So I want to finish with kind of the elephant in the room with this conversation, which is you can show up. You can have a time, a place, a routine, all that stuff. But, and I'm preaching to myself here, are you really pushing yourself? And only you know that. Like, only you know if you're pushing yourself or not. And I think one of the easiest ways to know that you're pushing yourself is that you're seeing the results you want. You're seeing the results that you've actually committed to. And so don't just say, I want to work out because it's a good value. Like, yeah, that's good. That's going to, help you show up. But what do you want to change? What do you want to grow? What do you want to do? What do you want to stop feeling like? What do you want to start feeling like? And then, like, work towards that. And so really push yourself. Like, it would be better to push yourself. And I'm not the expert, so this is my opinion. But in my opinion, it would be better to push yourself, for 30 minutes than it would be to just, like, roll around on the ground and call it working out, for an hour. I know that sounds stupid, but I'm being sincere. I'm trying to help you. I want to encourage you. I want to equip you. I want to give you some food for thought. I want to give you something to focus on. I want to put your future in front of you again and say, like, hey, don't make the same excuses. Don't recycle your excuses. Let's get after this. Let's commit to intentionally figure this out. Let's commit to do something intentional every day. And then let's commit to involve a few people that will encourage us, affirm us, or just get in our face and help us stay focused on this as we go. If you enjoyed this conversation, I really want you to pass it on to someone else. Let them know that we are taking on our future together with friends. You're saying, Peter, you've said a lot. What do I do? Just own the obvious. Like, what do you obviously know is good and healthy and helpful? Like, drink more water, try a supplement, go walking, like, do the push-ups, do what is obvious, own it, and then keep going from there. These are the tactics for working out at home. And I really challenge you to refuse to be a burden and instead choose to be a strength. Before you click out of this, I want you to find the link at the bottom of these show notes. That's where you'll find the free fail-proof planning guide. Jump into this coaching journey, join the Future Friends, and know that tomorrow is Future Friday. So Future Friday is dedicated to Future Friends. That's when I We'll field your questions. We'll have conversations about what you're working through, working on, and be thinking what you would drop into the conversation tomorrow. I really appreciate you. I want to remind you, you are going places. You're going big places in the future. So if you really believe that, then it's going to reflect in what you're doing today. Prepare to go there. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay awesome. And I look forward to next time. Later.